Today's episode of This Week in Startups is brought to you by Squarespace. Use the promo code TWiST12 when signing up to receive a 20% discount for 6 months. And by GoToMeeting. Sign up for GoToMeeting and use the promo code START to receive your free trial.
Hey everybody, it's Friday, and we are here at CNET, CBS Interactive Studios, doing our live roundtable. Rafe Needleman, the editor-at-large at CNET, is with us. Peter C. Horan, angel investor, serial entrepreneur, is with us. Tyler Crowley is going to read the news. Stick with us. There's a lot to discuss.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah, money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah, we ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Introducing the newest members of the This Week in Startups producer program.
Hey everybody. Oops. Okay, am I on? Okay, great. Welcome everybody. We're here at CNET Studios. Tyler and I had some business up here in San Francisco, so we're spending the week doing a bunch of interviews. And my good friend Rafe was nice enough to lend me a studio. Thanks, Rafe. I guess you're the guest now, and usually this is your studio. You're the host.
That means I don't have to do any of the hard work.
Right.
I like it.
Isn't it so nice to be a guest after being a host for so long?
It is. I like this. I'm bi. I go both ways on it. I don't mind.
I do too. I'm bi as well. Peter, hey, it's San Francisco. Welcome. Peter C. Horan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Jason. Good to be here.
You've become a fan favorite, by the way. Everybody loving your appearances on the show, asking on Twitter when you're going to be back, so we had you back. And now, wait, you're based up here, right?
Yeah. Live in San Francisco. I go to LA a lot, New York a lot, but live here.
And Lon Harris couldn't make the trip, so Tyler Crowley, you're going to read the news. That's fantastic. But before you do, I just want to let everybody know that GoToMeeting is the solution I use when I have all of these amazing meetings with entrepreneurs. Every week, I go on Angel List, and I get contacted. I don't know how many people contact us a week off Angel List alone. It's just dozens of people. And I try to meet with 4 or 5 startups a week, hear their story, learn, because, hey, they might wind up being an investment. They might wind up being on This Week in Startups. They might wind up being at the launch conference. And I use GoToMeeting every time. I don't even let anybody else set up the meeting stuff anymore because they wind up using some other technology, some free technology. It never works. And then there's 20 minutes of a 30-minute meeting is spent on setting it up. I use GoToMeeting. I've always used GoToMeeting. Promo code START for a free 30-day trial. And, it works on iPhone, Android. Go download it. And make sure you use the promo code START. I really appreciate the guys from GoToMeeting sponsoring the program. And as you guys know, it's a whitelisted advertising system we use here at This Weekend. We only take products that Tyler and I use on a regular basis and that we endorse. So if you use this product, I'm personally guaranteeing you that you're going to love it. Tyler, aside from the awesomeness that is GoToMeeting, what's in the news this week?
Well, let's start off with Amazon.
Amazon, yes.
Amazon to open retail stores with white label merchandise. Credible sources leaked info that Amazon will be opening big box style retail stores selling their own branded merchandise. An Amazon retail store would or could be a major shakeup in the consumer goods space, potentially rivaling Target's and Walmart's. It's also a little known fact that Amazon already has Amazon Basics branded electronic merchandise and could have other brands. Pinzon for kitchen and Strathwood for homes are believed to be Amazon brands, but the company does not disclose this information anywhere on the site. Question is, there are many possibilities for what the store would look like. What are Rafe and Peter's thoughts, and why isn't Amazon upfront about their branded products?
Rafe, what do you think about all this sort of base? I mean, this was obviously my story, so it's important to disclose there, but I had it from a source that they're really thinking about actually having physical stores.
Well, I guess if they're going to have to pay sales tax, they might as well go all in, right? Because that's what's going to happen. I mean, they're going to lose the internet sales tax exemption, and then it's going to be like a giant FU to the people who pushed that through. It's like, well, fine, you want us to pay tax? We're moving into your turf.
See, I didn't even consider that. That is a very good observation because, in a way, Amazon has had a tremendous, tremendous advantage over local retailers and mom and pops because there's no tax.
Right. There's no tax and centralized inventory, centralized shipping, fulfillment, the whole thing. And now they have this thing. Well, I mean, if you go into a Costco or a Target or a Best Buy or anywhere without a smartphone doing the scanning to check if you can get a better price on Amazon or elsewhere, you're an idiot.
Right.
And Amazon is profiting from this in a huge way.
Right. I mean, Best Buy is the Amazon showroom today.
Totally right. Yeah.
People go in,
Right.
they look at the merchandise, say, this is great. And now, I heard this, somebody can tell me if this is true in the chat room, but if you use their scanner, you get 5% off.
Yes.
That is the most aggressive, combative,
temporary promotion. Yeah.
temporary promotion. So if I scan
Well, what coincidental timing, huh?
Yeah.
Christmas, I go in and I scan a Blu-ray player, and Amazon has it cheaper. And then if I buy it after having scanned it, I get another 5% off. And I'm an Amazon Prime member, so I get it shipped for free in 2 days, and I don't have to lug the thing to my car. I mean, this is a seriously aggressive thing. Peter, did you, I don't know if you read the stories, but did you know they have their own white label brands on their site?
I've been hearing rumors about the white label brands for a little while, but they've been sort of moving towards this local inventory for maybe a year and a half. Started not surprisingly in Seattle, but they've had the same day delivery, so they're positioning the inventory locally. Core belief is that there's 3 nuclear weapons in competition right now. There's huge amounts of cash, massive amounts of customer data, and world-class logistics. And Amazon certainly checks the box on all 3 of those, and it makes it really, really hard for most other businesses to compete.
Let me ask the guys to pull up my screen for a second here, and I want to show you why this was so shocking to me. I did an Amazon search for a dual USB car charger. These are great little devices, right? And they're great. They're $5-6. You plug them in, and then if you've got your own, I actually have dual-headed iPhone and dual-headed mini USB cables, so I can plug them right in. So I wanted to buy one of these Griffin ones, right? So I went and I think I actually bought this one here from this company called XTG Technologies. Nowhere on here in the searches will you find a dual USB car charger from Amazon. However, if you were to search for Amazon, and I'll just do it here on the program, Amazon Basics, right? They have a whole line, and look at here. The second thing under Amazon Basics is the Amazon Basics 2-port USB car charger for $10. Why is that not listed in their own search? If you go 5 pages into the search, you cannot find it. And if I were to type if I type the USB dual car charger Amazon Basics, it doesn't come up either.
That's really weird. But
actually, it did come up this time. It didn't come up last time. But they've basically subverted themselves, and they also their cables and this basic electronic stuff are not coming up under related products. So they must have actively gone into their search and had a developer spend a week or a couple of days saying, take this stuff out, de-index it from the search engine. Why would they do that? Anybody have any clue?
So weird. I mean, but the thing that these are monoprice products. I mean, these are boring, ordinary accessory products that you can get at the Best Buy for $30 or on monoprice for $3.
Right.
And Amazon is finally buying them from the same Chinese suppliers, and now they're selling them under their own brand. I guess you might be right. They might be experimenting with their own electronics brands here.
Yeah. And so if they're doing this, and then we found out that they actually have 2 private label, I have to look them up, but there's 2 private label home like kitchen accessories and that kind of stuff. And those have been going on for 5 years, 6 years. And nobody knows about it. I never knew that. Did anybody know they have their own kitchen accessories brand?
But they're generics, right?
They look... it's not generic. It doesn't even carry the Amazon name. It carries another weird name. Like they actually took the time to brand it.
It's like Costco with Kirkland. It's
that's exactly what it's like. Yeah. But
see, I think what you're seeing is a soft launch. I mean, this is the classic stealth soft launch. Try it, work out the kinks, see if you piss off your partners.
Pinzo is the name. And here's the issue.
They're a big partner for all these guys.
Yeah. Sure. Here's the thing. Pinzo is the name. He's a Spanish explorer who discovered the Amazon River.
Oh man.
So anyway, here's the page, and it says here, shop, build confidence in the kitchen with Tom Douglas by Pinzo Products, not by Amazon, by Pinzo. And then down here, it says, invite Amazon's Pinzo products into your kitchen and home for their form and function, experience their style craftsmanship.
Did Pinzo go on to kill all the inhabitants of the Amazon?
Yeah, basically. Chances that Amazon opens some type of retail experience, right?
I don't think that Amazon store brands and a retail experience are related issues. I think they're separate questions.
Okay. So let's just take the store question. Will they have a store? Will they, in the next 3 years, will you walk into an Amazon store or kiosk
let me ask you
of
this.
some type?
Why do they need a store when they've got Best Buy?
Right. my reason would be you walk in and you see all the stuff there, and it just converts the people who have not yet converted to Amazon Prime, right? So if you think about it like Costco, Amazon Prime to me is just a Costco knockoff. You pay a certain amount per year, $70. So there's got to be 2/3 of the country or half the country that just hasn't bought into the Amazon thing yet.
No.
And so it would just be like a marketing program to get those people in.
It would be the showroom.
No,
It would be a showroom, right? They don't even have to carry inventory there. What if they didn't carry inventory, but you went in and there was just 20 knowledge bars in 20 different categories, and it was just 20 genius bars?
Well, yeah, that's it. So you're using the Apple analogy, and I think that's actually a really good one. Is everybody thought Apple was crazy when they started to launch stores, 8 or 10 years ago, whatever it was. It's like, wow, that's a computer guy doing a store. What's with that? And in fact, that's become a real key to the customer experience. And I think that's the other reason why a store might make sense for Amazon is, they all Google, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, they're trying to go upstream control of the consumer. They want to be the first click and the distributor of traffic and attention.
Right.
And so, in fact, having a physical presence is a way for them to tap into a whole nother pool of consumers and really start to take the Amazon brand further into the world.
But why not build a store if they already know that San Francisco or LA, one in New York, one of these major markets, that they already know how much they're going to ship there anyways. Why not put it there, build a huge store around it, let people go in and touch it so that they can save on the shipping twice?
Yeah, they already have local depots everywhere. I mean, I think that's the reason why Amazon Prime works so well. But let me just ask this. How many people here have an Amazon Prime account? I do.
I do.
Yep.
Love
okay,
it.
4 for 4. Let me ask my 2 engineers, Amazon Prime or not?
Yes.
One of 2. No, Brandon's broke. He don't have any Amazon. He works for me. He's broke. But anyway, that just basically means 5 out of 6.
I bought this jacket.
People.
Somewhat embarrassed to say, and Rafe used the wording, you're an idiot not to. I bought this jacket last week in a Patagonia store, scanned it. It was, instead of 120, it was 80 on Amazon.
Bingo.
Next day, and got it next day.
Okay, so looking at Amazon, they now have the tablet, which they're selling for less price. They have all these white labels. They're doing white label electronics, possibly stores. How far is it going to go? Are we going to see them come out with a smartphone, as people have been talking about? Are we going to see them come out with computers and television sets? Are they going to become an electronics manufacturer as well? Do they buy a company? I mean, obviously Samsung is too big of a company to buy, but do they buy some other company?
Google just bought Motorola, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, but the common thinking is they divest the hardware. But maybe that thinking is antiquated. The analysts are hoping they get rid of the hardware business, but doesn't Google as well need to have a soup to nuts offering?
Well, so Jeff Raport and I wrote an article for Harvard Business Review .org about mega competitors in the internet space. And so part of the way to think about this is that you've got Google, Apple, Amazon, and Facebook that need to compete across the board. And so if one of them's in books, all 4 are in books. If one of them's in cell phone, pretty soon they all got to be in cell phones or tablets.
Right.
And they can't let anybody else. It's like the old nuclear arms race.
Right.
And so I expect they're going to have that sort of physical presence in the real world and devices as well as software and services.
There's no downside to consumers, right? I mean, it's not like they're making this stuff free and then they're going to pop the price up to some incredible margin. This is just pure revenue margin destruction being done to take as much market share as possible. The consumer's not going to lose in this, are they?
Well, ultimately, if Amazon ends up putting the big box stores out of business,
Right.
Which they could, arguably,
Easily.
then once that competitor is gone or that whole competitive landscape is gone, then sure, Amazon could start to ratchet up the prices.
Right.
And reduce selection.
But this is like the Walmart argument. When Walmart comes into the small town, they put small stores out of business.
Very good
And
point.
then raise the prices, but they haven't.
Right. It's like so actually, and this goes.
So who's losing?
Competitors. So this really goes back to the Microsoft antitrust thing 10, 15 years ago, where the argument, you could argue that consumers benefited. They got more powerful computers, better software at a lower price pretty consistently.
Right.
But who got hurt? WordPerfect, Lotus,
Right.
Netscape. And one of those kind of little known facts about like the FTC is there to protect consumers, not competitors.
Right. And in this case, it would only, from my understanding of the sort of selling product dumping, if you will, product dumping is only an issue if you're doing it with the intent of putting somebody out of business, and if consumers are benefiting, then it really is very little issue. So how does this relate to the book business? From what I understand, book publishers now are furious at Amazon for letting people go direct, and they're
good.
Right.
Book publishers deserve to be put out of business
because they just don't provide value.
when they do provide value, but they charge so much for it. I mean, you put a book up through a standard publishing model, and we're changing topics totally now, but you put a book up through a standard publishing model, and you make a couple of pennies per sale. You do it through a Lulu or an Amazon model, and you make what, 70%, 30%? I forget what it is. It's a lot more than you make through the old model.
It's even worse. I was talking to a very high-profile author, and he has started releasing his own small books, and he has told his publishers he's not going to do his next print book with them unless they revert back his online electronic rights to the same terms as Amazon or something more reasonable, because the existing terms are that you get 25% if they pay it like a royalty. So if you did a print book with this publisher, your ebooks, you get a 25% royalty on their net. So they can put all these crazy expenses in it. Oh, the lunchroom at the top of the building's an expense against your book. And you're getting 25% of net, which means you're getting probably like 10% of gross, when you could be getting 70% by putting it out 5 times at $3 each.
Right. This is why the publishing companies hate Amazon.
Right. And consumers should love it.
Yes.
So
and authors ultimately should love it. The only challenge is marketing, publicity, and that's the only problem. Yeah.
Right. And does social media solve that? I mean, the best authors are now taking their audiences that were controlled by.
Yeah. Let me tell you what happened. Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
Please.
So a friend of mine is an author. Wants to be an author. He's a great writer. Okay. And he has this book, but he's not published. He's actually a physician. And he wants to write this book, and he went to a publisher and he said, "I've got this great book," and he showed it to him, and they said, "Well, that's you're a good writer. It's an interesting topic. Tell you what, when you have 10,000 friends on Facebook, come back to us." That's the barrier to entry. That's the price of admission for a real publishing house to look at a brand new author today.
Basically, if he spends like $700 on Fiverr and .com and all those other places, I think he can get like a bunch of young Cambodian and Indian boys to be his friends. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen Fiverr.com, but this is how the entire YouTube ecosystem works.
Really dangerous here.
This is not your typical CNET show, just so you know. Yes, we're talking about acquiring young boys in third world countries. Fiverr is a service that lets you do this. You basically, if you want to get 1,000 people to watch your YouTube video or to like a bunch of YouTube videos, because we were trying to get more likes and more people to watch our stuff, get the viral loop going. And somebody contacted us and said, "Oh, why aren't you using Fiverr? All the top YouTube stars use Fiverr and all these other services." I said, "What is that?" They said, "You pay $5 for 100 likes or $5 for 100 comments, whatever it is." They have email lists of all these young guys, young kids, 15-year-olds, and they say, "We'll give you $5 if you do 500 likes, and we'll just keep sending you things every day to like and to put comments on." And then you get a bunch of comments in broken English.
But this is like the old SEO business.
Right. It's social SEO.
It's like farming.
It's like farming. Hey, let's talk about the new Twitter. Tell us, what's going on with that?
I was just about to get to that one. So Twitter gets a major redesign. Twitter debuted a new interface this week, compartmentalizing all info into 4 distinct elements: home, connect, discover, and me. Mobile apps also got a similar update in what appears to be an effort to connect the dots between Twitter's online and app presences. The new layout puts additional context and content in line with tweets rather than off to the side. As part of the redesign, brands are also gaining the capability to change the color scheme of their entire page, as well as put in header art and a background image. Twitter also says it will be 500% faster than the service was just 3 or 4 months ago. Question: as Facebook continues to adopt more Twitter-like features, will Twitter respond in kind? What do you think the next big offering from Twitter will be?
Rafe, what's your thoughts on it? Have you played with it at all, or?
I did. I switched over to the new look and promptly forgot about it. I mean, to me, it's just fine. It was tough getting started on mobile. Yeah. Because they kind of moved everything, or they moved all the furniture, and I kept tripping over it. I couldn't find anything, but I got it set up now, and I like it. What I think is really interesting, I did a story about this yesterday, is I compared the company brand page strategy or product on Twitter to Facebook and Google, and I think that's a real interesting comparison, because that's obviously where there's a lot of business for the social platforms to be.
Yeah, I mean, in the business of knowing any kind of metrics or statistics on your Twitter following, they've essentially, because Twitter has been so incompetent at adding features and keeping the service up and running in the early days, something they seem to have figured out, they actually created all these competitors, the Radiant 6s and all these people who have basically taken that entire data business now with their own pages, with TweetSense, they're actually going to have a very powerful business. And what I love best about this new service is I think it becomes with the connect, actually explaining the @ symbol is connecting with people and the pound symbol is discovery, not hashtags, which means nothing to people. But pound means discovery. If you look at the pound discovery page, this is curated. There is a human being going through this and selecting these stories. So there were people who I guess were doing like, hey, what's that hashtag kind of sites? And they're gone now. But they're saying, hey, here's David Stern, here's Google Currents, here's Lindsay Lohan's Playboy, Tom Herman, whoever that is. Maybe he's a coach.
I don't have Lindsay Lohan's Playboy on here.
I have it right here. Let me show you.
No.
Right here, actually. Actually, here's the spread. No, it's the cover. But somebody is actually taking the time to actually then go curate the hashtags to make a content-like experience. This is the beginning of content and business on Twitter, and this is going to help them actually.
I was going to say, but this is Twitter,
fill out their valuation.
But this is Twitter as media,
Yes.
as opposed to sort of 21st century telegraphy.
Right.
You're starting to actually see Twitter emerge as media, not just redirecting interest to media.
Yeah, I mean, 80% of Twitter users, the unique visitors, are just reading stuff. I mean, and we saw the same trend in blogging, didn't we? Like everybody thought, oh, everybody in the world's going to have a blog. And then it turns out writing a blog takes some skill. And writing a good one takes a lot of skill. And you have a lot of wherewithal.
And getting an audience takes skill, persistence, and a whole bunch of stuff.
If you're a business and you've got a choice to build only one page right now, Facebook, Google Plus, or Twitter, or let's say you can build all three, but you have to put where are you going to put the bulk of your energy?
That's so easy.
Facebook?
Yeah.
Because that's what the users are.
Because there's nearly 1 billion people there.
You have to.
And the half-life of a like is, or a wall post is much longer than the half-life of a retweet.
That's true. Yeah. I mean,
so not only are there more users, but I think there's more social interaction on Facebook. Google has a fantastic social interaction model, but nobody knows what the hell it is, so forget it.
Right.
And Twitter, they still don't have person-to-person social interaction down, and that's what's important about building a brand.
And would that be solved with threaded messages and lifting the 140 cap?
Threaded messages would go a long way towards that.
What about the 140 cap? Is that antiquated now?
I love it.
You love the fact that people have to have brevity. What if they just double it? 280. Would you? What would you do?
Then you fill up 280. See, I think 140. It's kind of like haiku. It's like there's a structure to it. It's a pain in the neck a lot of the time. But having to actually say, okay, how am I going to use my 140? What do I cut out? How do I get my message across quickly? I think there's a beauty to it. It's just
what's happening with me is now I find myself posting a thread to Google Plus and then tweeting it.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, Pepsi's Twitter page, because they have a new brand page, the link they have on there is their Facebook page. Yeah. Now, but here's to go back to your other question. Here's my meet you in the middle, my diplomatic solution to the 140 character limit. 140 characters for text, at names and links are free.
Yeah.
I read that somewhere else. So
I see. So if I do a link, if I do an at name, so that will. Yeah. That's a nice compromise.
Yeah. That way, my bitching about you guys having long Twitter handles becomes irrelevant.
I tell you, that is really is that not...
I'm chewing up your 140.
How valuable does having a premium short name have now? I mean, it is getting more and more valuable.
Yeah.
How many people accidentally tweet you like there's other Rafes in the world? It
happens. Not that often. But my friend at Josh, he gets it a lot more than I do.
I get it all day long. Yeah. Jason Derulo, Jason this guy, Jason Bateman, everybody's, I love you. I loved your concert last night. You know what I do? I reply back, thanks. Then I get into these threads with like 15-year-old girls who love this kid, Jason, who's the folk artist that they're all crazy about? Jason Mraz? Raz?
Mraz.
All his fans love me. But I think it's about 10% of my follower base.
But go back to your original question. You did something really interesting. You said, so is it Twitter? Is it Facebook? Is it Google Plus? You completely skipped the World Wide Web.
Yeah, the web's dead. As far as I'm concerned, the web is dead. It's so polluted with garbage, and it's so hard to find something of meaning. I don't think users want to embrace it anymore. I think they want some level of curation. The fact that Google Plus and Facebook force you to have real names means the spam problem is mitigated. I mean, when's the last time you saw spam on Facebook? I haven't seen spam on Facebook ever. Google Plus, I get like one every couple days. I'm sure they'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. So I think that these...
But I get spam on Twitter every day.
Oh, Twitter's a disaster with spam. I don't understand how they can't get... Well, I mean, listen, Twitter has been an engineering and design disaster, scalability disaster, except for the last year.
Yeah, victims of their own success.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that. I think it was incompetence because Facebook was a bigger success, and they seem to be able to figure out how to keep servers online.
For the most part,
There was something fundamentally wrong with the tech team there in the beginning, that they couldn't keep the servers up. And now, I think Twitter has been handicapped because they couldn't release new features. Because every time they release a new feature, it absolutely crushes the infrastructure. And so that's why they don't do photo hosting. I asked Ev early on, like, why don't you host photos? He's like, we can barely keep the servers up. How are we going to keep all the storage up? Let TwitPic pay for the storage cost, and we'll offload it to them. But at some point, they're going to have, and it seems to be happening now, they're adding features that would have crushed the previous infrastructure.
And I was going to say, little as I like to waste time saying good things about Google, think about the miraculous scaling that they've done over 10 years. Last whisper number I heard was 60 billion documents in the corpus. I mean, they run data centers around the world. They come back in fractions of seconds, and not a lot of outages, not a lot of hiccups. It's a pretty amazing thing.
Sorry, go ahead.
When we get back from commercial break, we're going to talk about Zivity as adult content and PayPal. So there's a little adult content teaser in there. We're going to talk about Evernote and all their awesome new products. Jawbone's got an apology for us. All kinds of good stuff right after the break. Oh, I'm reading the commercial. There you go. I think on CNET, you guys play the commercials, right? You don't have to read the commercials.
Yeah, that's right.
See, I read my commercials.
Mm-hmm.
I do it the old-fashioned way. That's the difference there. I don't just press the button. Look at the engineers at CNET are like, who is this guy? Hey, listen, it's very simple. And this makes it really easy because the next sponsor, if you will, or product Jason uses every day is the other way to say sponsor in our world, is Squarespace. I love Squarespace. It's the best blogging platform out there, hands down. Absolutely much better than WordPress or Movable Type, God forbid you're on that, or Blogger, God forbid your business is on that. Listen, I'm a blogger. I created the largest blogging publishing company. Well, I don't know, Gawker might be bigger now. But anyway, the fact is, Squarespace is beautiful, elegant, gorgeous, simple to use, and I use it for launch. That is, every day. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous platform, and please, just go use it and try it. And if you wanted to start a business, I guarantee you, if you're out of work and you're like a web designer, that's not possible. But if you were out of work, and let's say you're a dude and you're out of work, go do this exercise. Go into any local business, take a picture of the front of the store, and make a gorgeous Squarespace website, show it to the guy there, and then sell it to him for $100 using one of their templates, or $1,000. You're probably going to sell 1 out of 10. Give them the website for free. Squarespace is gorgeous. Use TWiST12 for 20% off for 6 months. What? 20% off for 6 months? That's a big discount. Thank you for the guys at Squarespace for doing that. Use the code TWiST12, and if you use that and you forward your email to contests@thisweekend.com, I will send you one of the gorgeous This Week in Startups bags that you can only get by patronizing the wonderful and elegant Squarespace. Delicious. I love Squarespace. Anybody here use Squarespace? Maybe? No? Oh, Tyler uses it. Of course you use it. Yep. Squarespace is just a great, great, gorgeous product. Okay, Tyler, give us the next story. Come
Speaking of other gorgeous products that I know you like, Evernote shares cooties and contacts. This
Hold
is
on
from.
a second. Why is Evernote not sponsoring the program? Because we're sold out of spots.
Yes.
I love Evernote. Keep going.
I know you do. This is from Rafe blog, by the way. Evernote's new Hello app prompts a new contact to enter their information, including taking their own photo on your phone so that you can find them later. You can also enter a person's information yourself, but the app is clearly intended for 2 people to swap phones temporarily. The philosophy behind the app is that the people you meet should form a narrative, not just a contact list. New entries get synced into your Evernote notebook with a met-so-and-so @ heading so that you can find them on your notebook's power search. The app is aware of both your location and your phone's calendar. It groups people by time and place and allows you to add anyone who's marked as an attendee at a meeting to the Hello mosaic of people. The app will also automatically send a new contact a nice to meet you email with your picture and contact info. Question is, Evernote's Hello too weird to become mainstream, or is this the beginning of a new way of thinking about contacts and relationships?
Well, Rafe, you did the story on this. I mean, you basically took the premise that for just germs alone, please don't use Hello.
It is the weirdest. First of all, everybody who listens to me on the other shows knows I love Evernote. In fact, drink if you're listening to me now.
Yeah.
Every time I say Evernote, you got to drink.
Yeah, it's a great product. Why do you love it? Why do you love it?
I do. I take all my notes in Evernote. I do all my writing in Evernote, and then I paste it into our blog platform, and it synchronizes across all my computers and all my mobiles. It's just everything I ever.
You feel secure in a way that if a new platform comes out, they will build for it.
And
because they have for every existing platform.
And it's got really fast search, and it's automatically synchronized, and it's cheap. In fact, it's free.
It's like a better Dropbox in a way, right? Like you could use
Microsoft. Way beyond Dropbox.
You could do like Microsoft Word in Dropbox, or you could use Google Docs, but it doesn't really
you
work
don't have
on
to
other
think
platforms.
about it. So I'm working on my computer. I'm writing a note. I'm composing an article on my desktop, the CNET computer. I go home. I open up my laptop, and there's the document. I never even have to think
and
about
they've
saving
synced it, and it's local. So if you're on a plane, it's there. If it's in your iPad, it's there.
Right.
So let's talk about the new product, Hello.
Hello. Let me show. Have you tried it?
I have.
Okay. Is it not the weirdest thing? So I meet.
It's a little weird.
I meet you at a conference.
Right.
I take my phone. Hey, Jason, nice to meet you. Here, put in your contact information.
Right.
Now, all the time that he's doing this,
you
like,
stand there awkwardly.
It's my phone, and for all I know, he's reading my email right now.
Wow. I'm looking at your photos actually, and boy, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
what's going on in your personal life?
No, thank you very much.
Yeah, and also the germ thing touching it, but I will say that it reminds me of Hashable, where you would say but Hashable you don't hand to somebody to say I am memorializing this event that we've met.
No, I think there's
to put the contacts in the database. So there's something to that, but they also have another app that came out at the same time, which is take a picture of food and then record your food. So to me, it sounds like
goofball.
Yeah, I think what they're doing is having fun, letting their developers go a little while and saying, what other input apps? You know how we have input devices? Hey, we got a microphone here, we got a camera, we got a keyboard, a mouse. The apps are the new input devices. How at Evernote saying, can we come up with some new input devices that make it fun to collect information? Like they have OCR. So if you take a picture of a document, or you take a picture of a wine bottle, you might be able to OCR it. So they should come out with the wine app. That's just like take labels and then catalog them in a fancier way.
That's what I said in my story about food. Absolutely right. Yeah, they should totally do that. The food app is kind of fun, but it's way too lightweight for serious foodies.
What they should do is they should Mechanical Turk what you take a picture of, and then have the person do something with it. So like if you took a picture of the wine, it would then tell you like, make sure they retype it in properly, like Card Munch does this. You take a picture of a card, they send it to Mechanical Turk, they pay somebody a penny to make sure the OCR is correct. But yeah, something a little bit more fun with the foodie, but that's a good start.
Yeah. Now, the thing about Evernote as a company is Phil Libin, the CEO, I mean, you know him, I know him, he is really smart about getting apps to bubble into consciousness. I mean, taking the core of Evernote, he's now building this. I mean, Hello, despite the goofy interaction mechanism, is actually a very smart
Got you to write a story.
Yeah, and it's a smart concept. The idea is that instead of having a contact book, I meet you, and in my contact book where I forget you, it's like I meet you, and now you're in this mosaic of faces with all these other people who I met at about the same time at about the same place, and it becomes a narrative.
Right.
And I think he's onto something there.
Yeah. This whole idea of the story of your life, which really goes back to science fiction and William Gibson and sort of life casting, if you remember the whole concept of life casting, which sort of came and went. In a way, Color and Path, thank you, Evernote, they're sort of, and I guess the Facebook timeline now, all trying to sort of collect this information.
It's asking a little bit, though, isn't it? Like getting users. Obviously, you like the product, right? I
like the idea.
Yeah, right. But the question is, can you get users to do a new habit? Right? You're asking them to do a completely new behavior when they do.
Checking in.
No, disagree.
No,
because I think there's no model for getting users to do something totally new. The only formula for success is getting them to do something they want to do a different way. And so it's like if I want to get Rafe's contact information,
he can email it to you. He can hand you the card.
But it's like so
you
if you
can
give me
bump.
So if you give me some easier way to do something I actually want to do, then that's
if it's easier or provides more value. I mean, you could also provide additional value, right?
Yeah, or it could be more fun.
I think the Palm Pilot, when that first came out, you would go to parties, and the activity at events for a solid year, probably in the industry in '99 or something or '98, was beaming. Like that's what you did at a party is you beamed your contact information. What a waste of time! I mean, those were some good parties. We could have been actually talking to each other. But you remember that? Like people would sit there and try to line up their phones to make sure that the 10 kilobits of information could make them across. What a disaster! Let's do the next story.
Speaking of other kind of disaster, Zivity account shut down by PayPal. Zivity co-founder Cyan Bannister found this week that PayPal, without warning, had shut down the company's account, saying the site, quote, could be considered obscene. However, Zivity has been using the service for 4 years, and neither Zivity's content nor the PayPal's acceptable use policy has changed. The shutdown is all the more ironic given that Zivity's other co-founder, Scott Bannister, is credited with inventing the PayPal payment over email process. Although PayPal reinstated Zivity's account after a local NBC affiliate ran the story, Cyan now questions whether the service is the best for her site. Question: PayPal once stood for freedom of funds, but is its corporate structure now hindering rather than helping small business owners?
This isn't the first time PayPal's turned people off, right? It seems like every week they're turning somebody off.
I think it was the
donations for the kid.
The WikiLeaks.
WikiLeaks was one, and that was the government coming in. This was a complaint about obscenity because they don't do porn, right? PayPal, you can't use PayPal for porn, I don't think.
Right.
And Zivity,
How do you pay for your porn, Peter? You use PayPal or do you use a credit card?
I mail cash.
I'm
very
cash,
retro.
100%. Okay, I just want to make sure.
I come from a mafia family. We trust
Actually,
cash.
just cash, just envelopes.
Brown bags, cash.
So I think that's the borderline thing here is like, something that's artistic or whatever. But usually this is a sign of the success and the ubiquity of a product that people are complaining about. They also shut down somebody who was taking donations for some like really good cause. This is a sign of how ubiquitous PayPal has finally become. That everybody.
But what the question you're asking, which I think is really important and interesting, is it's a financial exchange system. It's a monetary exchange system. It's money.
Right.
So what business do they have telling me what I can and cannot spend my money on? Whether it's guns or, holy water. I mean, who are they to say?
But this is related to Hillary Clinton scolding the Valley yesterday about technology. It's like technology doesn't kill people. People kill people.
Yeah.
It's like but do we send technology to dictators? Does PGP send encryption software?
Do we, the United States, send technology to dictators?
We
Yes.
do.
We do,
Yes.
as a matter of fact. Yes.
Well, there was actually the story just a couple of weeks ago that we were sending all this stuff. That was the WikiLeaks, right? And we had a big discussion about it just the other week. I was bouncing off the wall. I mean, the fact that American technology companies would send specifically. I mean, it's one thing if you sent laptops. Like, should Apple be able to send an iPad to the Middle East, to a dictatorship? I'm not so sure that Apple shouldn't be able to send iPads to Cuba or something. But if they send phone tapping software and Wi-Fi routers and all this kind of stuff, like what those are going to be used for.
How about just playing guns and tanks?
Yeah, that would be not cool either.
That's a different show, but I'm just saying. Yeah.
We should. Yeah, and I think actually there's a lot of rules about not sending those kind of things and sending this technology that is specifically designed to capture people who are freedom fighters. It's just unbelievable that American companies would do that, especially considering, just to take aside the ethical issues. Why would you risk the incredibly bad PR of making 0.101% more revenue from selling to these broke-ass dictators? But they don't have that much money to spend. It's not like this. Come up with a better product to sell to Americans or to free countries. Why would you waste your time on these guys?
But that's the PayPal logic of why they don't want to have PayPal funding porn or other stuff. Is that, why get associated with businesses?
All this is going to do is just create PayPal alternatives. I mean, this is if PayPal starts being too heavy-handed, it's just going to create another opportunity for some other. I mean, Bitcoin in a way.
Mm-hmm. There's another cool one have you seen Dwolla?
Yes, is Dwolla like the one-gun entrepreneur in the
two guns in the Midwest?
In the Midwest or something.
They're kids, really, really smart.
Yeah,
check it out. DWOLLA.
Dwolla, and what's different about that than PayPal? Is it just PayPal without the fees?
It's like PayPal without fees by two guys who have taken every lesson that PayPal taught us and are starting from scratch.
Wait till the Russian mafia shows up, starts hacking into accounts. I mean, that was the thing that almost killed PayPal. They were spending so much money trying to prevent fraud because once you create a system like this where money can be shipped, these two kids are going to have a brutal awakening when people start trying to hack their system.
Yep.
Yeah, I think there are advantages of scale in this business. With PayPal, it's the ubiquity, it's the security. eBay and PayPal is where every hacker goes to test their skills. And so as a result, they're actually really, really good at keeping bad people out of the system.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite thing always was that I think David Sachs created this of Yammer now when he was at PayPal. We're going to make 2 tiny deposits into your account. Please type them in to confirm your account. So we're going to put in like a 17-cent transaction and a 7-cent transaction. They would just put in like 2 transactions under 30 cents. because and it basically was a better way of sending a 4-digit PIN code because you had to have an active account and be able to read it. That was the original verification system. Do they still do that? Does anybody see that?
I haven't seen that in a while, but
I just got that. I was trying to set up a link between my B of A account, my Wells Fargo account, and they said, we're going to do a micro deposit.
And then tell us the number.
Yep. Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah.
And now people in Bangalore are setting up so many PayPal accounts just to get the micropayments. It's interesting. No, they're not.
Man.
I'm joking. But that would be like, you think about the state of employment in the world. People are desperate to do I had a crazy idea, Rafe, on the plane. Since we're talking about things other than technology for a second here. What if we just put a couple of $1 billion a month towards paying people to just make local farms instead of being unemployed and give the healthy food to schools?
that's awesome. Yeah. Where's the $1 billion going to come from?
I don't know, it's raise everybody's taxes. Next story, Tom.
Next up is Jawbone. Jawbone issues apology and a refund for Up. Jawbone, the maker of the Up Fitness wristband, posted a letter on its website apologizing for problems with the device and offering buyers a free refund.
Haas.
CEO Hussein Rahman said the company has found an issue with the two specific capacitors in the wristband power system that affects the ability to hold a charge. Jawbone is also working on an issue with syncing related to the band's hardware. The company assured users that the problems are performance related and don't pose safety risks. Up is a wristband that monitors users' activity and plugs directly into an iPhone to send data to an app. It retails for $99. Up is also Jawbone's first foray into the health and fitness sector. Question, will problems with Up plague Jawbone's future offerings, or is the apology and full refund enough to appease consumers and regain trust in the brand?
I think they're going to get ahead of the curve. If they tried to stonewall it, say, nah, it's not really a problem, then yeah, the credibility. Yeah. But, they got out of it in front of it. They said, we're sorry, we'll refund it, we'll fix it. And their other products are exceptional. The Jawbone headsets are great.
This is very much in line with their brand, which is they make exceptional products and they stand behind it. Haas is a stand-up guy. And it probably, if you issue the apology and offer a full refund without you having to pack it up, how many people are going to take the time to do that if the product's actually working for them?
Yeah, they probably won't.
Yeah, and they're going to be like, you know what? Don't bother. I don't want you to. If you're that gracious, people are going to be like, it's like when you're at a restaurant and you're like, oh, this came out a little bit cold. And like, oh, you want us to take it off the menu and you take it off the bill? And you're like, no, I just want to let you know it was cold because I didn't want to, So
I was at a restaurant the other day and they gave me French fries instead of onion rings.
Right.
And I'm with my kid and it's like, I ordered onion rings and I was like, oh, sorry. And they took the French fries away.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with them? I mean, it's the same
Right.
thing here. I mean, and that's gracious. It's like,
Right.
look, in many cases, in order to prove that your product is broken, they make you send it back. But that's just nonsense. It's like, you're going to throw it in the bin anyway.
Yeah.
Just keep it. We'll send you a refund and move on.
I think that this all goes back to Zappos creating exceptional customer service. And now everybody, I was just reading the Southwest magazine, like, oh, we want people to do insane things with customer service. So somebody left $80 in an envelope and the person tracked them down before they left the, airport, and they were just all astounded that the, cleaning person didn't just take the $80 and pocket it. I really think that this will be Tony Hsieh's legacy, not selling shoes and the incredible brand that Zappos is that customer service is your opportunity to build lifelong customers and loyalty, and it's more important in brand building than any kind of marketing or edge you could buy.
Amen. Dell, are you listening to Jason right now? I have one of your computers right now, and you're getting it back.
Dell, hell, I mean, look at they put Jeff Jarvis through
where's Jarvis when we need him?
No, but think about this. They put Jeff Jarvis through so much hell, and he rode them so hard that when you say the word Dell, the first thing that comes to my mind is not the 5 or 6 Dells that I bought in the 90s and had a delightful experience with. It's Dell hell. They screwed Jeff Jarvis. That's the first thing I think of. Yeah. And what does it cost you to say, hey, you know what? Oh, you ordered onion rings? Let me go get some for you. Enjoy the French fries as, our mistake.
Exactly.
Right? It costs you $0 to do that. But there is some adversarial consumer vibe that somehow got into the ecosystem that now is being removed from the ecosystem, where people are realizing customers have so much choice. And this is where, going back to the Amazon story, if you don't treat customers in an absolutely exceptional manner, they have so many more options.
But that's why the belief is that's why Amazon bought Zappos, not because they necessarily want to be in the shoe business, but they believed that Zappos was one of the few companies in the world was actually better at customer service than Amazon was.
Right. And he tried to buy them 2 other times before they actually got bought.
And by the way, the polar opposite, why does everybody hate their cable company and resent paying their cable bill? Because it's the old phone company. It's the we don't care, we don't have to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I remember the worst experience I ever had in my life in customer service was Verizon, and I was like, when are you coming? They said Tuesday. I said, what time? They said Tuesday. I said, okay, Tuesday is the day of the week. Mm-hmm. Time is measured in numbers. Is there a number you can give me? They said, well, our hours of operation are 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Yep. I said, so I have to be home from 7:50 until 7:10 to wait. I'm busy. Who has the time to do this?
This is the experience I just had with Dell, and I was well outside of their refund window, but I've been complaining about it so much and so loud. They're finally like, we'll give you a refund. But here's the thing. The dispatch center still calls me twice a day to schedule an appointment, which I have canceled like 9 times already.
Yeah, I mean, and Michael Dell is Michael Dell, what are you thinking? Like, you cannot treat customers like this anymore. Why don't you just have lunch with Tony and get out of the dark ages? Michael Dell, this is a message to Michael Dell. You are a tremendous entrepreneur. We all respect you, billionaire, lots of great land in the Big Island. Congratulations. Your legacy is bad customer service. Is that what you want to be remembered for?
By the way,
get it together, Michael. Really. It's so disappointing because I find him to be such a great entrepreneur, but it ruins his whole entrepreneurial legacy for Michael Dell to run a company with such poor customer service. Like, just get off your ass and tell everybody in the company, delight the customers at all costs. And don't worry about the profitability of those fringe customers who are pissed off at you.
Yeah. But I believe that good customer service starts with happy employees. It's like, and I'll use United Airlines as the poster child for often bad customer service, but it's because, this is not the friendly skies. We do not like being here, and we're going to be sure you don't like being here either.
This is, by the way, if Amazon does do retail, this is their big challenge. Amazon does not have in-person. They're going to have to train an entire army of Apple employees.
That's a good point.
If you're going to buy an iPhone, where do you go? You go to the Apple Store. Why? Because you have a better experience. The people who are selling iPhones at the AT&T store they're going to kill me, but it's true. They're the people who couldn't get a job at the Apple Store. And you could not be more right that happy employees and good in-person customer service is so important, and it is so, so hard to manage.
And the thing about the Apple Store is those people, they sincerely care about the Apple brand.
Right.
They believe in the Apple. They want you to love it as much as they do.
Right.
And so, how can I fix this for you? How can I make you love this?
I got the greatest story. I'm coming back from France with my wife. We're in line, and we're in the priority line. We got nice tickets. I've done okay for myself, so I tell my wife we'll get first class tickets, whatever. And this woman from United goddamn Airlines, they have the crew there, right? We're late for our flight, so she walks right in front of me and says, we're going ahead of you. And I said, okay, we're late for our flight. She goes, crew always goes ahead of customers.
Wow.
And I looked at her and I said, are you the security guard here? And she said, no. I said, well, we're late for our flight. Are you late for your flight? She said, no. I said, well, would you mind if we go first? She goes, crews go before people. I said, now I know why your airline is dying and they took your pension away. And she went crazy.
Good.
And she went and got security. And security came to talk to me. And I said, what's the problem? And she said, they have to go ahead of you. I said, that's fine. They're from a dying company that will be out of business soon. I would love for them to go ahead of me. It's the least I can do for a group of people who will soon be unemployed. But this person was online in security, and she couldn't not help but be a B word to
Thanks for cleaning that up.
Customers. Like, they're so angry at United Airlines that it's not enough for them to torture you on the plane. They have to torture people who are not taking their planes. I was on Virgin, but they specifically went out of their way to try to ruin my flight. Thank you, American Airlines. Please kill yourself.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. I got to stop doing that. I apologize to people. I use this term. It was a joke term we had when we were growing up in Brooklyn. Blah, blah, you're a dictator or whatever. Just kill yourself. And I had somebody email me and say,
No, you can't say that anymore.
Yeah.
I can't say that anymore. I had somebody who
You have to figure out another way to say the same thing.
What's another way to say kill yourself?
Yeah.
I guess on Reddit they say die in a chemical fire. So that would be equally
Yeah, Union Carbide will come after you then.
Well, it would be insensitive to somebody who actually had a relative who died in a chemical fire. So I have to figure out a way to be politically correct. What would you do at CNET? How would you? This is why I can't work at a place like CNET. Would I be fired from CNET for the stuff I've said on this program? At least I'd be talked to.
Yeah, you'd get. Yeah, CBS HR would have words with you.
Yes.
Well, what do they call this in LA? There's a way to do is grin effing, right? You have to figure out how to grin F somebody.
Yeah.
I have to green F.
Grin F.
Oh, grin F. A grin F.
Sorry.
How would I grin F? Kill yourself.
Yeah.
I hope
enjoy
you
your unemployment.
Enjoy your early retirement.
Yeah, there you go.
Friends at United. But it costs you nothing to be nice. And the amazing thing about Virgin, I mean, how many people love Virgin America?
I absolutely love Virgin. You know why I love it in San Francisco, although this is going away? Because they flew out of the international terminal.
Oh, my God, so gorgeous.
You fly domestic out of the international terminal.
It's simple things, but they also seem pleased that you're on their airline. They're absolutely pleased.
Mm-hmm. Now, by the way, since this is allegedly we're talking to and about startups,
right? Let's
bring this home for half a sec, because a lot of startups are started by folks who are incredibly smart and are solving really, really cool, important problems, and think that's enough. It's and I think
there are other factors around the problem you solve, and they include customer support as a primary one.
I just did this startup tip the other day. My new thing on Race Radar, Startup Secrets.
Yeah.
Support is product. Josh Weinberg said this.
Yeah.
Support is product. And it's not enough to have good support. He was like, you have to have support that gives the customer the same experience they get with the product. So if you buy a Dell because it's online and you don't have to talk to anybody,
or it's fast,
or you're right, then their support has to be all those same things. The same thing, Apple. This is why Apple support works. You buy the product in the store from the same person you take it to when you have at the same place when you have a problem. It's the same experience. It's a mirror. And support has to be the same way.
Let me put a good word for Apple support.
Yeah.
It's a little bit, send us an email, we'll see. I had a problem with iTunes login, trying to set up an account for the cloud. What blew me away was not that they responded, but 2 days later, they sent me another email and said, hey, how did that work for you? Do you want to call us back?
That's above and beyond.
Right. That was like, wow. It's like I expected you to respond as part of buying the product.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But the second email, hey, did that actually work? Are you okay?
For the longest time, Amazon didn't have a phone number. You could not call Amazon.
Yeah.
That was the big joke. And
like the old AOL unsubscribe number.
Well, that was just total obscurification for the point of keeping the numbers up. But Amazon just did not have a customer service phone number. And then I remember somebody gave me, and they said Bezos himself had given this phone number to him and gave me a number. And I called it. And somebody answered it and said, how can we help you? And it was like a VIP line that I guess Bezos had set up for industry people who were upset. And it worked.
I don't like that, though. I mean, I haven't not yet.
No, treat everybody well.
I work at CNET Flag at Dell, even though I think, to their credit, I think their social media team, to get back to the reality of how the internet affects customer service, I think the Dell social media team knows who I am.
Oh, those guys get it.
And is pushing on the Indian call tech guys to will you guys start treating them better?
What are people, I mean, no offense to the people of India, but why are Americans calling Indians for customer support? We got the whole country's
We're not calling them. It's Dell. Michael Dell is saving money by putting a call center there.
Michael Dell is so misguided. It's like watching, watching Michael Dell run Dell is like watching a boxer out of their prime get in the ring and get pummeled, and you're just like,
dude, that's harsh.
But it's true, and I like Michael. But Michael, it's like you're a punch-drunk boxer. Like you can't even keep your hands up and defend yourself against the competitors you have. Somebody throw the towel in for Dell and get out of the consumer business if you're not going to do it to a proper standard. You really have to step up and say, and look deeply in the mirror, people at Dell. Your customer support sucks. You're forcing us to talk to people in India. The people in India are probably laughing on the other end of the line, like, my God, this makes
first world problems, the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh my God, you guys are all pissed off, like whatever. But it makes no sense to outsource it. And there are all these people in the United States who are out of work who will take the jobs for a reasonable fee. And at least you could and I'm not being a xenophobe. It just does not make sense. You don't want me in my broken French giving customer support to people in France. Especially not with my Brooklyn accent.
No, but you know what?
Tell me your problem.
Yeah. Brooklyn,
you
roll
can't
with the
repeat
strong
it?
survive.
Oh, comment allez-vous? Hit the reboot button. Go ahead.
No, I believe company culture is driven by what I call the stories you tell around the campfire. It's like Microsoft, a lot of the behavior that in the 90s was not pretty, like we got to crush these small companies, comes from when they were in the 70s and 80s, and IBM didn't take them seriously. Nobody took them seriously. Nobody's thought that PCs were anything.
Right.
And they say, okay, well, somewhere out there, there's this little company that's going to try to take off on us, and they're going to hurt us. We got to worry about that. Dell, if you remember back to the roots of Dell, back before it was Texas Micro, then the early days, they were competing primarily with Compaq and IBM when IBM was still in the PC business. They were big companies. They did a lot of R&D. They did a lot of customer service. And Michael's thing is we've got to be lean, mean, nakedly aggressive, low cost, agile.
Well, it was also customization, and you could get something that wasn't boilerplate, right? Wasn't that a big piece? It was cost savings.
Build to
plus
order.
Built to order. What do they stand for now? And also, Rafe, here's a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible to charge more for a Windows computer and get people to buy it because you have better service, because you have better hardware, better design?
God, I don't know. I mean, that's
because nobody's doing it
for a very, very small and diminishing segment of the population, gamers.
Right, they'll buy the extra hardware, the RAID drive,
the $3,000 PCs.
Right,
but also, by the way, for a long time, gamers with a Mac, it's so locked down, you couldn't actually address the hardware. So you could actually, for Twitch games...
But hardware's not the issue anymore, right? I mean, it's
for
like
Twitch
hardware,
games, it's always the issue.
I know, but beyond gaming, there is no more spec race in hardware for the bulk of consumers. Taking even video editors.
Yeah.
Video editors used to insist on having a Mac tower and all this extra RAM. Now they're absolutely fine with having an iMac. And they said they would never use an iMac, video editors. Oh, iMacs are just not all in one computer, no good. I need to open up the rig and edit it and customize it. Now, every video editor I see has an iMac, and they don't seem to care. And they Thunderbolt another drive on. So we're past the hardware specs of things, but design is the issue. And if Windows if Windows hardware manufacturers, OEMs, cannot compete on hardware, should Microsoft just take that in-house and make their own hardware?
Oh, wouldn't that be great? You mean, give it to the Xbox team?
Yeah.
To do their own computers?
Absolutely.
It would destroy a big part of the electronics industry. Actually, that industry is already in decline. So
right. I mean, if you were the bold young, if they got rid of the salesman running Microsoft, right, and put in a bold young CEO and said, do whatever the hell you want, and they said, we're going to build our own hardware, and the Xbox team is going to build the laptops, and they're going to build Xbox.
Robbie Bach in charge of Microsoft?
Whatever, yeah, hey, let's go. And, I mean, would that be the thing that makes Microsoft stock finally go up after 10 years?
I think it would. Wow. No, it's a smaller business. That's the problem. It's a better business, but it's a smaller business. It would kill the stock, but it would probably...
But it hasn't killed... Maybe they can make the margin go up. Maybe they can say, hey, you know what? Pay a little extra to get this gorgeous design.
Yeah, it's funny because, the whole Microsoft model of here's the software platform, you can build whatever hardware, you can build whatever software, we will support developers, we will support hardware manufacturers, we will supply this nut of technology and everybody else can build around it. That was the right model for the time. But I'm not sure it's the right model for today, because the right model for today is app stores and vertical integration.
Right.
At least it appears that way. Google, oddly enough, with Android, is going in the Microsoft direction, and you end up with this incredible fragmentation and these bad customer experiences.
And now Motorola may reverse that, and they may make their own soup to nuts phone app experience. And Amazon is doing it, if Google doesn't, with Kindle and their own Kindle store.
With a fork of Android.
With the fork of Android and their own store.
Yep.
And they're saying, you know what? Great job, Google. You got this close. You didn't do the last 20%. We'll do it.
Mm-hmm. And the world will forget about the Samsung Galaxy Tab, because everybody will be buying Fires.
Which is a great phone, by the way.
This is actually a really good segue into the next story here.
Last story.
Google,
last story.
Oh, actually two. Google launches new social reading and publishing platform, Currents. The service is available to users via dedicated mobile apps for Android devices, iPhone, and iPad. Publishers have the ability to package their content through the web app, which can include images, video, and other rich media types. They'll also be able to monitor reading stats, inject AdSense ad units, collect user info via email, and monitor usage stats through Google Analytics. I think I already said
Wait a
that.
second. It's a monetizable Flipboard. Go ahead.
Right. So the question, Currents seems designed to build on the success of apps like Flipboard, but will it take off like Google+, or is this the next Orkut?
Oh, man. That's
Oh, boom. This is
bada bing.
Peter, you're an expert on publishing, having run About.com, one of the largest sites on the internet in the history of the internet. What do you think?
Oh.
Why are they doing this?
Yeah, I don't...
A publishing platform, sort of Flipboard plus AdSense.
See, it doesn't... I don't think it really makes a ton of sense for big professional publishers. I think where it could get interesting is and by the way, this whole question of how publishers relate to the news aggregators like a Flipboard, a Pulse, a Flood, is actually one of the big...
stealing their content.
Not stealing,
I'm
but no, in a sense, it's where the portals were 10 years ago, right?
Right.
Because, publishers have a really, really hard time finding an audience on the iPad.
Right.
And consumers, they can go in the App Store, but, there's hundreds of things in there. It's hard to find anything.
Yeah.
So a Flipboard-style newsreader, it makes life easy for everybody for a while.
Right.
But that is that question of, do you build equity in your own site or in Pulse?
I mean, this seems to me like it's like Quark Express.
Yeah.
So I don't have the time to make an iPad app, and I don't have the time to create an ad network for it, so I'll just publish to their books. It's almost like their own bookstore in a way, huh, Tyler? I haven't played with it, but...
I haven't either.
I think this makes the most sense for, I'll say, mid-sized and smaller publishers.
It feels like a moat to me, like they're doing that moat strategy of like, hey, let's not let Flipboard or somebody else disintermediate Google News and therefore AdSense, so let's just take that business and annihilate any profitability or future competitor. Let's just kill Flipboard and Zite and Editions right now.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to work.
It sounds too kludgy.
Just because the product isn't that good. I mean, it's okay. People are saying it's beautiful, but it does not hold a candle to Flipboard.
Right.
And I'm not sure that Google has any special power to make deals with publishers. I mean, it should, considering who Google is. But Flipboard's out ahead. We've got Zite, which is owned by CNN.
Right.
This is a
Zite's a good product,
serious
but
game.
they sold that company too early to CNN, and now I'm just afraid they're not going to get the resources they need. And then Editions, very slickly done product, but they keep shooting themselves in the foot by making too much of the content Huffington Post. I mean, I like certain sections of the Huffington Post, but it feels like it's pushing too much actual Engadget, Autoblog, and too much of the house brands on you. So then it's just Flipboard, and Flipboard needs to figure out a way to help publishers make money. I mean, that's going to be the
real
winner.
problem here.
This only works if Pulse and Flipboard, all those guys stumble. It's in competition with a bad product, Google will win. But in the face of a good product, it won't happen.
Here's what I do if I'm Flipboard. I create a virtual currency where you buy, 1,000 points a month for $5 or something like that. And then as you read, it distributes those to the ones that you click through. So you can tell any publisher, if you put, like a micropayment thing, if you put this tag on your pages in your RSS, micropayments on, we'll show the full story. And you'll get that micropayment of, whatever, a tenth of a penny or a penny.
But the challenge with that then is that Google comes in and does a product that's 75% as good for free, and the consumers go there.
Well, this is just for the full article, so you still get the abstract version. This will only be for the full, and then they just make users hyper aware. You're supporting content. Like, I think users want to support content, so if they just said, hey, this is optional, but if you want to read the full article, hit this button, and you could be like essentially donating to those publications.
Well, there's been a little startup, Kachingle, has been trying to do that for a couple of years. Never really got traction.
Nobody got micropayments to work.
Nope.
Why not?
No.
Except in games.
Yeah.
Man, I wish somebody would take another swing at that bat. I think that there's a market for that. People just giving a small amount of money to publishers and authors.
I've never
Remember the tip jar, Amazon tip jar?
Sure, a lot of people are still doing tip jars. None of them really, you can't make a living off it.
Yeah. I mean, we make about $50,000 a year right now off of the producers program for This Week in Startups. People have donated. It's about $1,000 a week. Well, it's not enough to run the show. I mean, the show makes probably $600,000 off of advertising a year. So it's literally 10%. So it's not a meaningful amount.
But this, by the way, if you talk about kind of the media business and publishers, developing this third revenue stream is the biggest single issue for publishers over the next 5 to 10 years.
See,
subscriptions are getting harder to come by. Ad revenue is cyclical at best, and CPMs are declining. So ultimately, they got to crack the code on getting readers to pay for content.
I just realized it. Why doesn't Google do this on Google News, where they say, if you're a publisher, put this on, and every time somebody clicks through, we'll guarantee you a penny. Which means, that you go to Google News /CNET or /New York Times and the story, and you would actually see it on Google News. You'd never leave Google News. It'd be like Yahoo News. And they just basically guarantee a $10 CPM.
Sounds like something Microsoft would do for Bing.
Right. That would be a great investment, though. Can you imagine if you invested, they're losing $1 billion a year building out that business. I think it's actually a smart move to invest in it. But, man, Google is so profitable. Why wouldn't they do that and build all that goodwill with the content publisher to say, any story read on our site, guaranteed 10...
Goodwill with content publishers? Mm-hmm. The last thing I want as a content publisher, I mean, content publishers, we like money.
Right.
We like to get paid, but the last thing we want is to have the front door of our site be controlled by Google.
Right, but what if you're a small publisher that's making $2 per 1,000 visitors to the site, like a lot of blogs do, and they say, hey, we'll just guarantee you 10. And it just builds their base of users and their base of time on site. It would just build it out. Actually, Facebook is another company that could do this very easily with all the profitability they have.
Yep.
I feel like these large platform companies are so stingy when it comes to actually licensing content. They need to do something bold like that and actually pay people for their content. YouTube is clearly doing that.
Yep.
You know?
Well, one of the folks in the chat room said people want content for free. Yeah, and I want a pony for Christmas.
Right.
It's it's like as long as you can get it, it's great. But the other thing I think the publishers have got to start to do is A, focus on differentiated value-added content, and B, they got to take content out of the free stream. It's like, if you can give it to me for free, I'll take.
Good luck when Henry Blodgett at Business Insider and Ariana Huffington at Huffington Post are rewriting your 1,000-word article, putting a sexy photo and a hyperbolic, sexy headline
in the form of a question.
In the form of a question, and you won't believe this, and then it's like Rafe said in his really intelligent 1,000-word article the following 2 paragraphs, cut and pasted, and now we've out SEO'd you and out socially SEO'd you, so we are going to go above you in the Google rankings. We spent 15 minutes on this story. Rafe spent 3 days. It's like they're really like those. I found the Huffington Post and Business Insider. It's no offense to my friends who I'm friends with, both people who run them. Incredibly gaming the system. Predatory.
At least you used to be.
No, I am. They know what they're doing. I mean,
it's very smart business. Doesn't mean you have to like it, but it's smart.
I mean, basically, imagine if the New York Times just all day long, if the New York Times stopped writing full articles and just all day long just clipped other people's and put 3 sentences in front of them, like, then there would be no more articles to reblog. We called it reblogging back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we used to say, Engadget's just reblogging. Just reblogging this other story. Well, we're trying to put some extra value on top of the fact that we're commenting. It's more like commentary on something. Now it's not commentary. It's like, here is one introductory sentence that we're saying is commentary from an intelligent person, but there's no byline. Mm-hmm. There's no byline on these Huffington Post reblogs.
Well, it's
really insulting.
Yeah, but on video news search, the concept of fair use really doesn't work, because it's one thing if you say, well, in a text article in search results, you see the first line. Mm-hmm. It's like, but it's not really the story.
The abstract.
If I say, what was the score of the football game yesterday, and I get the video clips,
there's very little fair use in video. Fair use is much harder in video. Fair use is easy in text. It's just like, we only took a paragraph, and if you don't want us to take the paragraph, we'll just rewrite it anyway into bullet points.
It's true. Sad but true.
It's just like, it's a little bit smarmy.
Yeah.
It just feels like...
I try not to get too upset about it, because this happens all the time. I mean, you just got to continue doing the good content. Believe that ultimately, one way or the other, because you're right, if the New York Times stops writing content, then BI will have nothing to link to. If we stop, if you stop, if all the good, the real journalists stop writing the content, then those sites dry up. Ultimately, I believe, and this is why I get up every morning, is I believe that one way or the other, people will pay to be informed or entertained. Not necessarily directly, but one way or the other, with their attention, with their loyalty, with their money sometimes, they will pay for good content. You just have to figure out how to get into that stream.
Yeah, I feel like...
And if Huffington Post is teaching you how to write better headlines, then write better headlines. Sorry.
Yeah, you got to write better headlines, but then what if I also feel like it's a race to the bottom in some ways. Like, if you're not willing to write the headline to just absolutely misrepresent the facts, you're not going to compete for the tech meme headline. Like, they want something so sexy that you have to, and it's always been that way that, certain people were a little more amped up in their headlines, but it just feels to me like it's just gotten to the point of absurdity. Like, we have to actually the number one complaint people have about Business Insider is that Henry Blodgett is misrepresenting the actual story. Mm-hmm. And I've complained about that. I'm like, I didn't actually say that. You're saying Calacanis says this. I didn't actually say that. And I'm like, Henry, it's a lie. So I don't want to. I got thick skin, but you're actually. It's not just amping up the headline. It's a lie.
Well, it's the National Enquirer School of Headline Writing.
Right. It's Weekly World News. All right. Listen, this has been an amazing episode, Tyler. There's nothing else, right? We got everything.
That's a really good segue into the bit about Time getting a new CEO. But
all right, just very quickly.
Okay.
I know Peter knows a lot about this kind of stuff.
Time Inc. picks Digitas CEO Laura Lang as new head. This week, Time Inc., the nation's largest magazine company, chose Laura Lang from digital ad firm Digitas as the new CEO. Time Inc. has some major challenges, including the powerful allure of the tablet over traditional print media, and has seen a revenue fall of 30% in the last 5 years. Question: Lang's appeal is that she can help Time monetize its content beyond the traditional ad pages, but is this something that will work, bringing in somebody from far outside the conventional publishing world?
It's like one of the old light bulb jokes. How many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb? Only one, but the light bulb has to want to change. No, it's when you bring in a person into a culture with 100 years of history and say, okay, change. And it's how do you actually? I think it's interesting about it because from all accounts, she is a smart, talented, hardworking person, collaborative. It's like you couldn't write a better description of somebody you want to do this. But then it's like, okay, you've got a culture which is inherently insular, political, and has the tyranny of the installed base because they've made all their living for 100 years killing trees. And now it's, okay, we want to invent a new future. My guess is there's also a lot of people inside that building that want to kick the can down the street and make it the next guy's problem. And so I think that the interesting question is, and this is true of businesses in all kinds of categories, how do you actually, can one person be a change agent? Or do you have to figure out how do you actually change a whole culture?
Yeah.
It's the metaphor of turning the Titanic with a wooden oar, as Terrence McKenna used to say.
Or changing a tire on a moving bicycle.
Yeah.
Which in the case of publishing is always, I mean, I've heard that since I got into publishing in the late 80s. It's so hard to change your stripes when you've got a model that works, even when you can see 5 years down the line that it no longer works. That doesn't mean that it makes it any easier to change it. I mean,
because you got 5 years to find another job.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's the way Weblogs Inc. got sold to AOL was I was at Time Inc. and saying to them, hey, you guys spend $20 million doing a new product launch. I have Engadget and Autoblog with 250,000 people a day coming to them. And I've got great writers who are, for some reason, they're really resonating. And this is 100%, because I was a magazine guy previous, I said, this is all front of the book content. This is what people love. We don't need to make a magazine with but one feature. The whole thing can be like front of the book, awesome, short attention span, flip through it, wired fetish type stuff. Let's give these 250 people the magazine for free, and that'll be our installed base. We'll get the advertisers, and you don't have to do any research on and take any. It just takes the $20 million of risk out. We know there's a market for this because it's loved. Mm-hmm. And they were like, looked at me as if I came in naked. They were just like, what? What are you talking? What? Yeah. We wouldn't do a test pilot, $20 million launch and whatever. And I was just like, no, it's super easy. And then, 5-6 years later, they started like trying to embrace blogs, but they just wouldn't put it on equal footing.
I never heard blogs described as all front of the book content. That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, that was that when I first saw it, I was like, wow, this is like
that's publishing inside geek speak here, but yeah.
Well, front of the book was like, for people who don't know, there were these things called magazines, and you either wrote the front of the book, or you wrote a column, or you wrote features. I mean, that was like the three sort of big things you did. So, a guy like Rafe or Ohm were columnists. There were other guys who did feature stories. I'm sure at times you did feature stories, Rafe, as well. You might do a feature every other issue, and you might do a column every issue. And then there was front of the book. And front of the book was we put the young kids usually to get their chops before you trusted them with a feature. Front of the book would just be, hey, here's like a short take on something, 100 words, 200 words. Sometimes you'd hire stringers for front of the book stuff. It was like the appetizers.
But the thing about it, as you're absolutely right, is that that's the best part of the magazine.
It's just like going to a party. It's like, oh my, it's like dim sum, my God, I get to try a lot of different things, and I could get in and out without having, feature story is a commitment, but now you see, if you give people only dim sum, at some point they want the entree, and that's what's happening online. It's just everybody's like, they give me something long, give me something considered. That's why I started doing an email newsletter, because I was like, I don't want to be part of blogging anymore, where everything is designed to be ephemeral and short and meaningless. I want to write something long and well thought out. Whatever. Anyway, wow, what a great program this has been. We went to a lot of different places, and I don't know if we got much accomplished, but it was very entertaining, I think, at the very least. I don't know. Everybody rate the show. Rate the show, scale of 1 to 10 in the chat room. We'll see what people thought of the show. No, usually we do pretty good. It's a kept audience, and the people who show up to watch it live are there you go, 8.5. I'll take it. Okay, no other ratings. 8.5. Yeah. I mean, you rise and fall with the news and the guests. We have good guests this week. Hey, Rafe, thank you so much. And what is this startup thing you're doing? Where can we find that? I saw people in the chat room asking, where can they find it?
Yeah, so it's called Startup Secrets. I just started it this week. It's just like a little aphorism a day about being an entrepreneur. And it's on my blog, www.rafesradar.com, which is on CNET. Or you can follow startup_secrets on Twitter.
When you started Rave's Radar as an email newsletter, right? In the early days?
Catch of the Day.
Catch of the Day was your email.
Yeah,
newsletter.
back in the red herring era.
That's what
Bubble
I remember.
1.0.
I always remember I used to read Catch of the Day.
Yeah.
That was always like, I think that was your like peak. Like that was like.
That wasn't my peak.
That was, I mean, that was such a, I don't mean to say that in a bad way.
No, it's all right.
In terms of recognition.
Yeah.
Like there was
it was
something,
right before blogging.
It was right before blogging. You had tapped into something that became so Catch of the Day became like, did you read Catch of the Day? You really hit it out of the park for that one.
That was fun.
Did you read F Company? Which was WikiLeaks before there was WikiLeaks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, F Company was blogs. I mean, I remember talking to Phil Kaplan about F Company, and he thanked me in his book. He always said, like, Silicon Alley Reporter and Silicon Alley Daily were a big influence. He would write, I told him, I said, you would write 6 words and get more traffic than we would off of 600. Because you would just write something so salacious and then say, talk about it in the comments. It was originally, like, it was the original social network and blogging before it really existed. It was a really brilliant product. But boy, man, you ever think about bringing that back, Catch of the Day?
Every single day of my life, I do. I think
Really?
about bringing it back. It's a different world now.
Yeah.
It's a really different era.
How much work was it to do that, though? I mean, you had to file daily.
Yeah, it was a job, but I liked it.
It was 100% of what you did, though.
No, actually, it was part. I was also the editor of redherring.com. Until I stopped being redherring.com, I just did that.
That's just so hard to publish something that good every day.
Well, thank you.
I think it is. I don't know that you can do that. How long did you do that for?
3 years.
See,
3.5
that's the thing
years.
Is, you can't do something like that.
I could have done that. I could have done that forever.
You could do it for. I
loved it.
You could have from your enjoyment, but I don't know artistically and as a writer if you could have kept it up for much longer, because a person has so much to say, and then after a certain point of time, I sort of feel like to produce daily like that, you have to take a break. You know, it's almost like...
Well, we can wax philosophical about here. All columns, no matter what they're about, are autobiographies, and they're told over time, told every day. And if you lead an interesting life, the column stays interesting.
Right.
And I was always meeting interesting people.
Right. It is that. It's the lifeblood of it, is like the meetings. And
and
then a lot of these guys who are blogging, they don't ever actually get out and do stuff. You know, like there's such a... Because of the Huffington Post and Business Insider focus on just churning it out, I don't really feel like a lot of those writers are interesting people.
Yeah, you want to improve blogging overnight? Make the blogger's license restrict you to 1 post a day or 4 a week, and not 6 a day. And all of a sudden, things will be a lot more interesting to read.
That was Nick Denton at Gawker. Was you got to do 4 a day? Just
I know, but that
was also the old SEO model.
Right,
was a lot of volume.
Yeah, that was the problem. I mean, you really do need to give people time to percolate and meet people and discuss stuff. I mean, it's almost the reason I'm spending a whole week up here is just to recharge my intellectual batteries. You know, and actually, in a way, the reason I started doing This Week in Startups was this is my intellectual, social, creative outlet. It helps me so much in my day job to just talk to interesting people. If you're an entrepreneur, I really suggest getting out from behind your desk and going out into this thing called the real world, meeting interesting people, drinking wine with them, having a little bit of fun. It'll make you a better entrepreneur. Certainly, if you're a writer, it'll make you a much better writer. Mm-hmm. So
that sounds like a wrap.
I think we're in a wrap. We're wrapping up. Hey, Rafe, thank you so much for letting me use the studio this week. Really appreciate CNET and CBS Interactive's support on that front. Everybody follow at Rafe, R-A-F-E. Peter Horan, thank you so much, Executive Chairman of the Halogen Media Group.
Thank you.
Whatever the hell that is. What is that? Is that like some big think tank or something like that you run in some IMPay design building?
No.
That's just a business card.
No, it's actually what it's becoming is a social media marketing firm, which is helping big brands tap into influencers on the social web.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
go from broadcast to being a smart participant in a many-to-many conversation.
Interesting. All right, very good, Peter. And hey, Tyler Crowley, thank you so much for basically hanging out with me. Tyler,
I read the news. What are you talking
absolutely, you did. You actually did that. Everyone asks me, "What does Tyler do?" I said, "Tyler hangs out with me." But he goes with you. He goes with you everywhere. I said, "Yeah, of course. I don't want to be alone. That's your job.
It's a skill in itself.
Just keep Jason from going insane." Sure. What do people ask you? What do you do, right? And what do you say? When people say, like, when you go with Jason to Paris or you go here to this event, they ask you what you do, right?
Not in that way.
No?
No, I got introed at, what was it, last night? A couple nights ago?
Yeah.
And somebody said, "This is Tyler," and I'm waiting for him to kind of suggest what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
He goes, do you listen to that show, This Week in Startups? He's the voice of reason. That's what they said.
It's interesting. Evan Williams, we were in Paris one time, and
What Jason meant to say was...
Evan Williams is like, "What are we going to do now, whatever?" And I said, "We should go get something to eat." He goes, "Yeah, where should we go?" I said, "Tyler." And he's like, I just said something to Tyler. And I come back and goes, "Well, who is Tyler?" I said, "Well, Tyler just solves problems." Because, he said, "Is he your assistant?" I said, No, I have an assistant.
And by the way, put a plug for I just read an article on DigiDay for Brian Morrissey about...
Brian Morrissey, by the way, started his career with me at this Silicon Valley Reporter.
But everybody needs a guy.
Yeah, Tyler's my guy.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, and thank you, of course, to GoToMeeting and Squarespace, two products I love and I use every week, in fact, every day for Squarespace. GoToMeeting I use probably every other day, in all honesty, 4 times a week, 5 times a week when I do these meetings, and it is a fabulous, fabulous product, rock solid. Hey, listen, you get what you pay for, and if you use one of those free products, don't be surprised if your meeting starts 20 minutes late and you look like a dope. That's really, I have to say it, I meet with entrepreneurs all the time. If you want to look professional, like, use a professional service that's not going to crap out. Like, I was using Skype the other day trying to do a meeting. I don't mean to bash on Skype, but sometimes you just can't even see people. Like, you add them as friends and they don't even come up, and you're waiting 10 minutes. Oh, I added you. You wait. I log in, I log out. What version of Skype are you using? It just doesn't work. It never works. GoToMeetings just works. Okay, we'll see you next time on This Week in Startups.